Okay, today can't be too long because I've got to get back to work. I've been working all day and I have probably 3 hours of work left if I'm lucky. And I gotta finish it tonight. So the thing is, we just got an egg. Now watch, if we die, see that egg pop out of... Why would that happen? So it's like if we collect an egg and then we die, an egg pops out, and then let's see if we die again. It overwrites the same egg. So why is it that when we die, it's spawning an egg? And then if we collect, let's say, the new egg, and then we die, wow, both eggs get respawned. What the heck is going on here? So this is what we're trying to fix today. I don't have any idea why an egg is spawning upon our death. But I'm looking for any clues, like... So one clue is we're actually, look at our points. See how our points go like crazy. Our points go like crazy when we die. So that might be one clue. So something's going on when we die. We must not be moving. Hold on. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on. If we look for our score increment like this, we're incrementing our score upon player 1, enemy bottom collides with a vulture. I feel like I want to rename all of that stuff. Instead of saying the enemy bottom collides function on the player 1 object, I want to just say player 1 top collides, and then with the parameter vulture. That just makes so much more sense to me. So we'll change that. I don't know if we're going to change it today, but it's almost like I'm just going to see if any other parts of the score. Okay, so we're also incrementing the score if we collect the egg, but that's not what's happening when we... That's not what's getting screwed. And we're also incrementing our score if we hit a jockey. But I don't think... Now the thing is, like, this wasn't always the problem. We weren't always spawning an egg. It was only after we started doing the jockey logic, I think, that this happened. So part of me wants to see if we turn off our score increment upon our jockey collision, if that stops us getting a crazy amount of score when we're killed. Because we shouldn't get any score when we're killed. Okay. And then let me try again. Sometimes it only works if I collect the egg first and then die. So that's why I was doing that. Okay. So it does look like that was our problem. Well, I mean, at least for the score, because if we turn this back on and then we die, we might need to, yeah, see, look, we die and we get all that shit. So there's something going on. Our jockey's screwing this up. Which makes sense because it didn't start messing up until the jockey, so at least we're on the trail, right? Because our player 1 can't collide with a jockey unless a jockey is spawned. So I'm going to say, just to see if this fixes it, and jockey So in our egg, we have. Do we have a jockey? Yeah, we have a jockey spawned field in our egg class. So we only want to increment the score if it's a collision and the jockey is actually spawned. I don't get why the jockey would have a why it would collide with the jockey before the jockey even exists, but if we're more verbose like that, maybe it'll fix it. Cool. So we did not increment our score when we died that time. Now let's see if we get an egg and then die, if it does it. And then we'll test if we actually get points when we interact with a jockey. So look, we're gonna die here. What the fuck's happening? So watch our score here. Oopsie. Watch our score here when we get a jockey. It just does it once. But if we die, watch us die and watch our score. What the fuck, man? What's happening? Why? That makes no sense. Why would eggs spawn when we're dead? So this might have... What's so weird? So look, if we turn off just this line, if we turn off just that line and we die, does our score increment? Yeah, it does. Okay, so that line does fix that problem. It does not fix our eggs problem. So what is going on with our eggs? We check our player to enemy collision. Come on, boys. Where are you? Player to enemy collision. It's like it's resetting the egg to its last X for some reason. So when do we set our eggs X to our last X? We don't even do that here. Well, if we're not collected. So is our egg collected getting true when we collide with an egg? I guess is the first thing. So if we check egg collision, egg collected gets true. Yes. And we do it on this one too. Remember, we have the different speeds for the collision because of the offset of the sprite when we're standing or walking slow. We're missing something here. Right here. No. Well, let me see if this weirdness collides with the vulture egg jockey, because the thing is that score bug I wouldn't think would exist because the jockey doesn't exist until the egg is hatched, but it was still messing up. So something's working in a way I'm not expecting it to. So part of me thinks if we stop, well, what is this actually doing? Our self scores table at index egg count dot last X, that is the position for our rendering of our scores. So I don't think that's what's fucking up. What's happening is the eggs are getting overwritten anytime a player 1 dies, right? Either when a player 1 dies or when a vulture collides with a player 1. So I guess let's take a look at if we're dead, does it do anything special? No. It's just triggering our death. And then I guess in here, do we have a death do anything special? No. Oh, well, you know what? Death is different than... Okay, so maybe this is the wrong word. Because we're not trying to become dead upon explosion timer. God damn it. Yeah, this might be the wrong way to think about it. Because what we're doing here is... Dead is actually... What is dead actually doing? Dead isn't actually doing anything. So what is the difference between death and explosion? If we're dead, we're gonna send the tarot to graveyard. Okay, so this is the problem here, I think. Well, this is a problem. Because is there a exploded in our... Yeah, there is an exploded and there's a death. Which, doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, because we had death to be when our vulture is, how do I put this? So like if a vulture collides with us, our vulture, or our ostrich, needs to stop rendering. It needs to render the sprite at last X and Y, the explosion sprite, and then once the explosion sprite is done, we move. Yeah, see, this is something we fixed for our we fixed this in another spot, but we didn't fix it for our ostrich. So let's find any exploded and just look at the logic. Oh my god, there's so much shit. So I guess what I'm trying to say is exploded and death right now are basically the same thing. So why do we have death? I think we had death so that we could say, yeah, you know what? I think we need to get rid of death. Because we're incrementing our explosion timer. Look, if we're exploded, we move ourselves to the graveyard, which is dying. So why is it that death gets triggered to true? But then the thing is, death isn't actually doing anything. Because we're rendering... Yeah, dude, death isn't doing anything. We only have 2 matches there, and it doesn't do anything. And then in our play state, we don't do anything with it either. We don't do anything that our exploded boolean shouldn't be doing. So now I guess the only thing left to check is to see if... See, why wouldn't that just be self-exploded? Death is just... Maybe in our ostrich class, maybe we're rendering something to do with death. No, it's just exploded. And then if we're exploded, we're going to increment the explosion timer, and then if it's greater than 1, draw sprite 1, or it's more like Yeah, if it's smaller than or equal to 1, yeah, do this. If it's else, if it's smaller than or equal to 2, do this. Else, if it's smaller than or equal to 3, do this. And that has nothing to do with death. So our death is just kind of see, we don't even need this. Like, we should say if our explosion timer is greater than 3, don't worry about death, but just set our explosion timer. See, this doesn't even matter. This doesn't even matter. I mean, we can say if we're exploded, only increment explosion timer if explosion timer is smaller than 0.35 or something. If it's smaller than 0.35, sure, increment our explosion timer, and that triggers the correct render here. We don't need death though. We just need exploded. And I think that might be causing the extra points issue, because our ostrich was still actually there because we weren't dead, but we were exploded. But upon explosion, we're moving ourselves to the graveyard, so maybe that'll fix our point problem. I don't think it'll fix our eggs problem, but it might fix our point problem. So we've got, let's see if our points go crazy when we're killed. No, they don't. Hey, we didn't spawn an egg when we died. We just didn't spawn us when we died. So that's one step. Let's see where, if player death, oh, and that's got to be where it is. If player death, yeah, if player, not one death, but if player exploded, then we reinstantiate, we send the pterodactyl to the graveyard, we reset the tarot timer, we check our lives, we reinstantiate a new player. So with this, we'll actually spawn our new vulture this very frame our old vulture is still exploding, which wasn't the case before we did this, but it might fix stuff. And if we really care about it, we can set a waiting timer so we don't spawn right away. But let's see if, seeing our explosion timer's all fucked too. Well, it stopped spawning us the egg, which is good, but it's not rendering the explosion timer, the explosion sprites right. Because, no, we are doing a last X. So something's happening where, when are we updating our last X? Oh, here. If we're not exploded. Okay, so I think we had death so that, fuck yeah, I mean it's because if we're dead, if we're exploded, okay, so I'm picking up on why I did that. And it's because if we're exploded here, let's say we explode, it'll start to render, you know, the very first frame of our explosion, but then look at here, we're overriding our player one, our exact player one variable with this. So it's like we need a death timer to increment upon exploded, and then if we're exploded and the death timer is sufficient, that's when we actually reinstantiate it. So we can say, why don't our music stop? Let's go to our ostrich class. Instead of player death, we'll have a player death timer, or an ostrich death timer field, and we'll set it to an integer of 2 seconds. And if we're exploded, if not exploded, and then if exploded, see, and we have explosion timer. Actually, we already got explosion timer that increments from 0. So we can say if explosion timer, yeah, we don't even have to do this. We've already got explosion timer incrementing upon a death, so we can just say if player 1 exploded and player 1 dot explosion timer is greater than our 0.35, then we overwrite our player 1. And let's see if that fixes our death sprite, our little explosion sprite for when we die. Nice. Cool. Now, the moment of truth, we get an egg, and then we die. Well, I killed him. But we got an egg. Now let's see if when I die, eggs spawn or not. Jesus. I'm just too good at this game. Okay, we got an egg. Now let's die. Heck yeah, we got no more bug. Oh, you stupid. Why? Why? Why then? Bro. So look, I'll get this egg and then die. And he just turned around. Did you see that? Oh my god. Bro. First of all, what the hell was going on up here? This... I saw the vulture turn itself around up here, which should not be possible. Bro, you kill an ostrich, egg spawns. When we die, egg spawns. I mean, it's probably when we die, not when pterodactyl gets killed. But why is it that when we die, a freaking egg comes out at the last X? I don't know. This throws me off because we're only incrementing it for as long as it's less than 35, so it wouldn't increment if it was past it. So I don't know how that was actually even working. But if we say we increment it up until 0.4 and then we reinstantiate upon getting it to 0.35, and when we reinstantiate, it should become wiped to 0 again in the init, which should happen. So that didn't spawn an egg when I died. That did. So, top collision makes an egg. inside collision makes an egg. Why is that happening? I feel like there's gotta be something I'm just missing. I mean, obviously. Why is it that when we die, or when we exploded, an egg comes out? It's gotta be right here. It's gotta be this. It's gotta be this. But the thing is, the vulture isn't exploded in this scenario. The egg spawn is only happening when we are exploded, not when vultures exploded. Is there any other egg spawn getting true? Yes. Huh. No. That was the only one. One match. So, vulture, first frame exploded is just to control only one egg getting spawned. And we set our first frame exploded to be true the very time it's exploded. And then we flush it right there back to false. So first frame exploded. If we look in our play state here, we do a first frame exploded if vultures exploded, vultures exploded, vultures exploded, vultures exploded, vultures exploded, and we do it here. And then we had it here incorrectly last time. Just for shits and giggles, I'm going to turn that back on and see if that's causing any bugs. I've seen weirder things happen. Okay. So the egg, where are we keeping our eggs? Do we have... The thing is, we're not even keeping our eggs. Our eggs are in the vultures table because our eggs are just a instantiation belonging to our vultures. So I don't know enough about Lua to know if I can't do an instantiation inside an instantiation. A vulture dot egg has a dot jockey. A jockey instantiation, because it's a class, belongs to an egg, which is an instantiation of a class, which is a field to our vultures table, which are all instantiations of a class. Because I feel like once we added that third class within the class, that's when the problems started happening with this egg stuff. So either there's like a obvious bug here that I'm just not understanding, or I'm just not understanding how classes can be tiered down, you know, class within a class style. It's so confusing to me that the eggs are spawning upon you. We have to have collected an egg, and then we have to have died twice in order for the eggs to come on, or have to have died once already. Okay, that was not what I was expecting. We don't even have to collect an egg. We just have to die when there's an egg around. So if we... And it didn't do it that time. And it didn't do it that time. But if we collect the jockey and then die, it'll spawn the egg again. So what the fuck? So if jockey's out and we die, oh well, that time it freaking... I can't even get it consistent. That's the worst feeling, when you can't even get the bugs consistent, you know? Because look, it didn't spawn one there, it killed us there. Does it have to do which direction we are? Because I was facing right. Let's try to die when I'm facing right and see if it does the egg spawn. It does. Let's try die facing left and see if that changes anything. Just, I can't even get it consistent. Give me that egg. Okay, we're gonna die facing left. Didn't do it. Let's die facing left again. Didn't do it. Let's die facing left again. Didn't do it. It's only doing it when we're facing right. Yeah, what the fuck? So let's die when we're facing right and see if it does it again. Yeah. So why is it that it only does it when we're facing right? If we look at our play state in our facing right field, so it's messing up when we're facing right, but not when we're facing left. So what's different between our facing right logic and our facing left logic? Oh, look at this. Self dot facing right, not player one dot facing right. That might fix it. Because that's what was not triggering our vulture to be exploded. Let's see if that fixes anything. I mean, it should fix something. How did that get changed to self facing right? So we're gonna collect an egg, and then we're gonna die facing right, and see if an egg spawns. And if not, we should be happy. Fucking Why? This was when we were facing left, so that wasn't even the bug. So if our vulture was facing left and we were facing left, we should have had a complete not working, but we fixed that bug, but that wasn't the bug that's hurting us. So look, we've got us facing right and them facing right. Right, right, left, left, right, left, left, right. We've got all of them. But why is it that, look at this. This is jacked, no? If a player enemy right collides, that means the enemy's on our right collides with our ostrich. If that happens and we're facing left and they're facing right, that means our butts are touching. That means like I would have to fly into them in the wrong direction, and if that's the case, no one dies. We just swap our DX to be negative, and we move our X to be right alongside the butt of the vulture. Okay. Okay. So why are the... We must have fucked something up in our side collisions, right? No, because we're still detecting the collisions okay. It's just that when we die from that, an egg is spawning. So when we die... Yeah, so look, if we die... Vulture first frame exploded gets true because the vulture's exploded. So why... For an egg to spawn, first frame exploded has to be true, and for that to be true, the vulture has to die. The vulture has to become exploded. So are we fucking up the exploded in our vulture here? If self-exploded, we're not even doing shit. We're not even doing anything. Where do we set our vulture dot? If our vulture's exploded, what do? We should be moving it to the graveyard. We do move it to the graveyard. Is this the only time we're updating our egg? I feel like this has got to be more off screen. Our graveyard is just all kinds of shit right at negative 2020, which I don't know is a great idea. But if vulture first frame exploded, then egg spawn. So when do we turn egg spawn false? Yeah, what does our egg spawn look like? It's in our vulture, not in our egg class. God damn it. This is getting wild, man. So if our egg spawn... If we're egg spawn, we give an egg at that last thing. We turn our egg spawn to false. We start being invulnerable for a little bit of time. That's 0.4 seconds. That all looks good to me. And that only happens if our vulture's exploded. And if we're exploded, we move ourselves to the graveyard, which I feel like should actually be not in the play state. It should be in our update function, right? It's so hard to think about this. Because if we move this out of our play state, we still have to check. Well, if Vulture exploded. Vulture first. Yeah. And why? Let me see if we turn off this vulture egg update, if we can still render any egg. Because that's kind of what I'm curious about. We do, we just don't update it. Okay. But look, that's weird. It's like it prints it up at 0, 0 when we collect it because the graveyard, right? If we were to do this by 5 more pixels, does that move the render of our points? No. So I'm confused. I'm thinking we try moving this into our vulture class, and we don't cycle through because we're already updating our vultures, so we would just have to move this line move us to the graveyard and then update our egg. We still gotta update all our eggs, so maybe vulture update. If we're not exploded, if we are exploded, we're gonna say if we're first frame exploded, egg spawn gets true, move us to the graveyard, set first exploded to false, and then we still gotta update all our eggs in our play state, which we can do by turning this on, turning this off. This is so ugly. And saying for every vulture in pairs vulture, render the egg, or update each egg. Okay, play state 458. You just got too many ends. It's not, none of these are this itself. Probably should have committed something before I started changing all this shit, because if it's broken still, I'm gonna have to rethink it anyway. I don't know, I feel like that should be in the... I feel like this should be in the vulture update function, not the play state anyway. That's so jacked. What? What, bro? When we die? Shit. And now it's gonna bug out because there's 4 eggs. Oh my god. You know what I feel like right now? This is how I feel right now. God. It's jacked, man. It's jacked. It's so jacked. I'm moving this back out. I have no idea where to go for this. Go from this. I mean, I think we just gotta go back to, we're gonna have to do one vulture. We're gonna print out debugging for all of that vulture and that vulture's egg and that vulture's jockey. Dude, it's not even fucking up anymore right now. What if we are facing right and we die? Dude, it's not messing up. Why is it not messing up anymore? It's like I don't trust it one bit. See, like that, it just rendered a... It gave us points. God damn it. Different problems now. I don't fucking know. Okay, well, at least the eggs aren't spawning at the moment. I don't know, man. Let's take a look at our git diff, see the disaster we did. We took out self-death from our ostrich. We only increment our self-explosion timer if it's less than 0.4. We I don't see what the difference is there. We just indented it. So maybe we fixed that in our vulture update. Oh, this isn't even saved. Shit. Oh no. Dude, we've got, we're not giving our vulture last X and Y at the moment. Scared. Because this was just working, but my vulture class is not saved, so I don't know what the difference is. Well, we're doing it right here. Last X and Y if we're not exploded. Okay, so we should just delete that. Bro, I don't know. Like, so I just saved it, and then watch if I just run again, I bet the eggs are back to spawning. Collect first, or make one available first. Okay, maybe not. Okay, well, take another look at our git diff here. We're saved now. Okay, why did I do that? Actually, it's a really good idea to check our git diff because I didn't think I changed that. Instead of our dy being absolute value, we need it cut in half to negate that gravity. And we had accidentally deleted that without realizing it. Which is one of those things that is just like so easy to miss. We move our vulture further in the graveyard now. We fixed a bug when we had self facing right, but this is in our play state, so that would have not done anything. But Lua doesn't throw an error for that kind of mistake. And then we fixed a point bug with our jockey spawn. That still doesn't make much sense to me because we shouldn't have been incrementing our score being killed because the jockey wasn't even spawned, so actually it is spawned. It's spawned in the null location though. It's just that it wouldn't have been colliding with it because it's in that weird location. There's gotta be something wrong with our jockey. Our dot jockey is screwing something up. I'm almost positive. So yeah, we took out death and changed it to exploded. Gotta be something fucked up with our jockey, man. What? Our jockey belongs to our egg. So a jockey spawns at our egg's last X and egg's last Y if the hash animation is bigger than 4 and we're not already spawned. And then we move our eggs to the graveyard. Okay. We're gonna have to debug better next time. I mean, we fixed a couple things. At least the eggs aren't freaking laughing at us, you know, every time we run the game. So I'm gonna get at everything with a commit message saying took out player death field and stopped eggs from spawning on death, on player death. But more bugs to be found. Okay, well, we gotta commit in today. I gotta go back to work, unfortunately. But we got something done. I would not have guessed we did 54 minutes. Tomorrow, I think the move is we're gonna go bug hunting for specific bugs and then go hardcore manually debugging, printing out all the things on all our fields to make sure they're populating correctly upon collisions and updating correctly and all that good stuff, because something's getting lost in translation. When our vulture dies, we have an egg instantiation. Then when our egg gets collected, or when our egg gets hatched, we have a jockey instantiation, and then things just aren't getting updated correctly because it gets complicated. So we're gonna have to manually print up all our debugging info to the screen and study it and make sure things are happening in the way we want them to. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. But yeah, it's tough. Because like it's just gonna get more complicated because now that we have a jockey, as soon as we have a jockey, we have a jockeyless vulture. And then if that collides, it is a new tiered up vulture, but we have to keep track of the new points, and we have to still update and render everything. God, yeah. I don't know, it might be too big for me to figure out. Even if we could just jank it together and have it work. But it's so much more complicated than I thought. And it's hard to manage it when it gets bigger like this. Like, we've got just so many lines of code at this point, but it's a good project and we'll keep making progress. I'll catch you guys tomorrow.